January 2006, the beginning of SMS. Over 14 years ago, we got the epic reveal of Super Mystic Sonic in the SRB2 editing forums, which blew everyone's minds and transformed into a legend. Okay, it went more like this.
Hey, I wanted to make a Super Mystic transformation and wondered if this looked good.
Now, I believe it was Dark Warrior who first responded. Where's the shading? You're supposed to submit this after you've applied the shading?
Yeah, I'm trying to make him glow bright. You know, so looking at a lamp, he won't have any shading. It's just like looking at a lamp.
And I immediately started a meme. Good start. After some criticisms, I cranked up the total shades from 2 to a massive 3, and added a white outline to emphasize the glow I was going for. That should make it just good enough for release, right? After all, it's all about the cool stuff he does, not so much how accurate he looks to real life. Yeah, I had neither any talent nor sense of art direction. Anyway, I was in for a last surprise when I found out there was almost nothing you could really do with custom characters back then. They would either speed talk, glide, or fly, and the only other thing you could do was adjust the acceleration. So SMS just ended up as a faster accelerating Sonic, and I had no motivation to really improve beyond that. See, SMS was born from the frustration of seeing Sonic do amazing things in games and animations, and so often getting stuck with gameplay Sonic. His legs are supposed to let him run faster than the speed of sound, yet here he is, the fastest thing alive, stuck on tiny inclines which even Mario and Mickey Mouse would laugh at because they understand how feet work. Meanwhile, at his best, he runs like my grandma on a Black Friday sale. I want to see him do the things he's truly supposed to be capable of. Now, I can't use Super Sonic since he's supposed to be invincible and on a time limit, and him being able to fly makes all those awesome leaps and stunts kind of pointless. So, let's make Semi-Super Sonic. No, wait. That still implies he needs to be slower than the in-game Super Sonic. Plus, you could just select skin color yellow in Sonic, and you again couldn't tell the difference. Oh, and you need to have the Chaos Emerald, right? Then, Adventure Sonic maybe. No, people will complain about differences in playstyle. How about Super Mystic Sonic? We'll say Sonic finds a mysterious new emerald in a canyon near the Mystic Ruins, and uses that to transform. Grind him a red streak and put on green weights to keep him grounded while running, and now he's recognizable. Make the glow obvious so people know it's just Sonic and don't mistake it for an entry-level OC, and voila! I've officially created an excuse to make Sonic do more awesome stuff than usual. Which is how we arrived at this moment. When he released for 1.92, SMS wasn't that popular. With all the limitations, he had almost nothing going for him. His only unique quality consisted of him being the first character mod with a transformation. For you see, it was an exploit that let you swap from Super Sonic to custom character still transformed. For those that know of this, I added a little Easter egg. HMS. He wasn't born yet. This was Hyper Mystic Sonic. I obviously couldn't call him Super Mystic Sonic, right? I believe having a secret transformation in an era like this caused a little spark of intrigue that made people pay close attention to what came next. Summer 2006, SMS 1.94. This was the first big SMS release people remember. Released on 1.94's launch day, the devs worked hard to include a bunch of new abilities for custom characters. And me? I picked all of them. I like that? Sure, Sonic does it nowadays. Running on water? Of course Sonic can do that. Homing? Yeah, that's iconic. Multi-talk? Well, that seems fitting for a super form. Minimal spin dash charge speed. Why charge at all? I'm Super Mystic Sonic. I also updated SMS designs with flame bracelets to make him stand out more from regular Sonic, which in turn also let him throw flames with the new Ring Slinger option. Instantly, SRB2 received the most powerful character ever seen. Players could simply mass jump and fly through the level, destroying everything. And whenever people had to deal with lag, didn't feel like beating the game normally, or just wanted to go nuts, SMS became the character they'd go to. His popularity skyrocketed to the point that if you went to a modded server, there was an 80% chance they had SMS added. It was ridiculous. Now, even before this release, I was warned making a character too good would diminish the challenge. So I came up with a unique solution. I've released 2 versions, SMSreborn.wad, which only included the character, and Super Mystic Sonic.wad, which changed the entire game to fit SMS as if you're playing a whole new game. This included more challenging enemies, new credits art, a new title screen where he wears a jacket, and SMS photo bombing every single level select picture. Needless to say, everyone used SMS Fun. As interest and popularity grew, it began to annoy some people seeing SMS everywhere, and arguments began to break out. But who would listen when everyone was ecstatic to break their game into little pieces? They were just grumps who took their game too seriously. So a new wave event was born. Hyper Mysterious Shadonic 123-311, aka Mr. Parody himself. Inspired by internet nicknames, elaborate backstories, and especially SMS. People still mix up the original HMS and the parody, so I felt like it was worth bringing him. It is a piece of history derived from SMS after all.
Enough!
2007. SMS 1.95. SMS had become the most played character at SMB2. I was honored and surprised considering how much criticism I got from earlier. And I still got a lot of criticism. Most arguments were that he's OP with every single ability in the kitchen sink, he's unoriginal, or his sprites are bad. Well, as a Sonic Superform, I'm not sure what you want me to do about that other than start on a different project or turn him into a Chimera or something stupid. But I'll see what I can do. Even as a kid, I agreed the sprites were inconsistent and awful. Parts of the old vanilla Sonic sprite literally seeped through, which contrasted horribly. So I went to work to make the entire sprite use SMS's style. I also redid HMS and gave SMS custom poses inspired from various Sonic games to make him stand out more from other characters. I also condensed his abilities, making his gameplay all about speed and removing the multi-homing and light dash abilities. Now SMB2 1.95 never existed, of course. I just called SMS 1.95 that as a playful nod to Sonic Next Gen, because this was the next generation of SMS. So, some liked it, some kept using SMS 1.94 because he was stronger, but the release kept SMS alive at least. Though it is definitely my least favorite iteration of the project. I tried to appease the critics with this one, but I kept getting the same old tunes sung back to me anyway, which effectively meant I wasted my time. After this release, I began to ignore and often mock critics. I figured they just hated the concept and wouldn't be appeased until SMS was cancelled, which I of course wouldn't do after it had gotten so popular. This led to a lot of hostility being thrown out and a lot of arrogance from my own side. If I ever grew an ego, this was definitely when it happened. Props to all of you who kept a level head at the time. We clearly needed all the same people we could get back then. 2008. SMS Unleashed. Arguably, the most remembered SMS. This didn't even start out as a project, just a video trying to recreate the hype of the Sonic Unleashed trailer, but with SMS and SMB2. I had a whole lot of fun boosting around and stunting with shield powers while making these videos, and people were expecting to get a big release soon because of it. So naturally, I had to comply. 4 whole videos of SMS dashing through SMB2 with the all-new boost mechanic, and we finally got what I was certain would be the biggest release of all. SMB2 2.0 still hadn't come out, but I lost the patience and SMS was ready to be unleashed. And so he did, alongside the new SMS Blast.exe. And just like I predicted, this release had the biggest impact on the SMB2 community to date. This release was an absolute disaster. But I kind of like it. No, you don't understand. I'm not even talking about the WAD's quality here. It was the release itself. The first issue was that the EXE wasn't mine. It was a separate EXE compiled by an old friend for fooling around in private. Now that's all fine and good since I had permission to release it, except I didn't. Turns out, when I requested permission to release this for SMS, he assumed I was talking about the YouTube videos and not publicizing the EXE. In a community where some people have very strong opinions about me, giving them more arguments that I'm the Antichrist of SMB2 wasn't helping my case at all. But worse, much worse, since this EXE wasn't ever designed to be used in public, it had the same version ID as Vanilla 1.94, which means you could join and host netgames with vanilla builds, despite the different features. So I just gave people the power to see-fail netgames and cause massive issues all across the master server. And since the devs couldn't do anything about this, or even identify when someone was hosting SMS Blast, the only option for them was to ban the SMS Unleashed WAD itself. Despite getting the okay afterwards from the creator of SMS Blast.exe, I couldn't ask him to go back and fix it for my blunder. And I already knew what was on the internet stayed on the internet. it was too late. That is why the release was such a disaster. It turned the community for the worse. The developers were absolutely furious. If they disliked me before, they hated me now. Oh, but SMS, you can't just assume that about them. Only they know how they felt. Oh, no. I know. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. They were livid. How do I figure that? Well, 2009. SMB2 2.0. The Dark Ages. 2.0 was SMB2's much anticipated takeoff from the final demos, yet for many, it marked the end to their time playing. Fed up with recolors reigning supreme in both netgames and their community, the developers had taken action. The character system they worked so hard for earlier was now torn from the game. The light dash, gone. The ability to run on water, gone. The ring slinger, which was a big source of creative custom abilities, gone. Super forms for any characters except Sonic, gone. Removing all incentive to collect emeralds with custom characters. And if you wished your character to have a multi-ability, you now had to give up your privilege to spin, and therefore your ability to beat the main campaign. Even end color, a variable that allowed customizability and skin colors and was necessary for SMS's colors to properly work, gone. Even if it came at the creative cost of all custom characters, mods like SMS had to be stopped. On top of that, there was a new system for releases. From now on, only if you put in enough effort in their eyes were you even allowed to share your mod for their fan game. That's right, SMB2 was no longer fun in games. It was a serious competitive environment in every way, from mods to matches. Even the skin color black was banned to prevent potential camouflage. Did I do this? What the hell have I done? I know it's not technically their fault. It was always their choice in the end. But I'm still one of the biggest catalysts that led them to lose their marbles. They were entirely justified in banning SMS Unleashed. They had every right to hate me after the way I've treated them. But to try and rob everyone else of their ability to be creative just to stop SMS alikes? To tell people and children they're not welcome in your fan game unless they spend 100 hours drawing every pixel from scratch and it fits your tastes? If someone spends even 10 minutes for my sake to draw something, I'd be grateful. I have never seen anyone spite their entire community like that. I was speechless. I promised at the time I'd release SMS, but I honestly didn't know what to do at this point. So I just threw together a lazy placeholder. He could only change his shoe colors and had a ridiculous wall jump. I got him the name Sir Skips-a-lot, but it would do for now. After that, I took a long break from this game, feeling both angry and guilty at the same time. Honestly, that might have been the end. A good bit of the community would have been happy if I never returned. So why bother? There was nothing left here for us. We'd overstayed our welcome.
Torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light.
2011, SMS Unleashed Twin. One day, an angel sent me a private message on the old YouTube inbox with the kind words, "You call that SMS Unleashed? That meek wall jump was really the best you could do?" They were the kind words of one Dracon Vokelda, who had sent me some creative socking samples for SMS Unleashed, turning his spin dash into a sock emulating boost. I wasn't happy with how it worked, but I was impressed at how he just pulled off a boost with 2.0's limitations. I was curious, what else can you do? For starters, is there a way to bring back super forms? Dracon, full of confidence, says he could do one better, and even make abilities for super forms only. Partnering up to see what new abilities we could make for SMS under 2.0's strict limitations, Dracon showed me I knew nothing yet of the power of SMB2's sock system. It was amazing. Wanting to bring back super forms for all custom characters, I instructed Dracon to let SMS share his transformation powers with others. aka a power share. And it worked. And at last, a custom transformation with custom abilities was born. Something that had never been accomplished before. Hyper Mystic Sonic was now able to rapidly wall jump and free fly multi-talk. Many of you from back then may actually remember this, because like a complete utter idiot, I decided to test an in-development version in public, thinking if I asked nicely, it wouldn't be shared. And that's the version you now all know as SMS Release 20. Despite me never releasing it publicly and actively trying to stop its spread, it still became one of the most popular characters on the master server, likely because it's the only character that broke 2.0's limitations after, 3 years? And well, I had to accept defeat eventually. At least it was flattering in a way. Future, from 2012 to 2013. What happened after? What was the future of SMS? I know I started other things like Samus, so does that mean I killed off the project? Yes, and I was tempted to for a long time. As time passed, I lost connection to SMS. I didn't hate it per se. I still used him as the face for SMS events because that was my identity around here. But slowly, I'd just grown out of it. Like a few fans, I eventually forgot why I even cared. Maybe the skeptics were right. This was only ever a lazy recolor by a 10-year-old for 10-year-olds. I too no longer saw the appeal. I was just grateful people stuck around because of it. SMS events and its members helped me through a confusing time where I wasn't really myself. But then, one day, I found it again. As I made Super Mystic Sonic for Sonic Generations, a simple project I did in a single day to surprise members of SMS events, it all came back to me. Making the trailer with the hype music, running around at blistering speeds, bringing to life all the things I imagined in Sonic, it was so fun. People loved it. I loved it. And I remembered, SMS had always been a means to an end, a justification to do what I got into Sonic for in the first place. I made those Unleashed trailers not to hype people up and convince them SMS was the greatest thing on the planet, but because it hyped me up. I had so much fun making those trailers, breathing life into my dream version of Sonic. But because it's so popular to hate our past work in this community, I mistakenly began to feel the same way. But that speedy spirit is still with me, and I will make sure it's reborn. Not just because of my promise to others, but for my own love for the project. 2.1 was around the corner, and so was Super Mystic Sonic. 2014, the birth of SMSreborn 2.1. And this is when everything changed, thanks to one little function that jumped in mainly thanks to YTE, Jason Yukina, LUA, or as you should call it, Lua. Now, my new Socking Senpai wasn't quite as experienced with Lua scripting, and I wasn't going to constantly bother her with every single question I had, so learning this language was going to be down to me. But there was a bigger problem than learning Lua. 2.1 was an unstable mess. The netcode was broken, and adding Lua files would cause lag, massive desyncs, and even crashes. Imagine me announcing a new SMS in the middle of this chaos with Lua still new on the block, breaking everything. What would the devs do? Would Lua get neutered in some way? Or worst case scenario, even get removed? Would I hold up developers that could be working to improve Lua or the netcode instead? It sounds unthinkable now, but at this point in time, nothing came from Lua yet. Nothing but lag, desyncs, and issues. And they did go nuts before. So I decided, I'm going to use this time. I wanted developers to see why Lua was so valuable, why it was the greatest hope SMSreborn had. It would be a tragedy if they did something stupid again because of me. But of course, redoing SMS wasn't going to be easy. I immediately ran into the same issue I did in 2006. SMS is flawed from its very design. The second I'd use standard SMSreborn shading, SMS is barely different from just picking the color yellow on Sonic. I wasn't gonna ditch Sonic to make some original character that's faster than Sonic either, and I didn't want to mutate him into something weird or pelt him with even more accessories. So, looking for help, I had members of SMS events try their hand at how they personally make SMS look good. Unfortunately, no one could fix the issue with the design. Without the unique style that's been the cause of so many conflicting opinions, SMS blends in too much as just a recolor, which is exactly what he is at face value. People even attribute the longer spikes and subtle changes to a drawing style. So despite Supersonic's design being equally as simple, he's able to sell the transformation so much better than I can. But I can't just stick to that old art style, can I? Wait a second. From 2.1 onwards, Supersonic has the same art style. And so did Sonic 2. I was never that far off track. I was just missing the contrast that came from the pulse. And so, cue half a summer spent on making new SMS sprites from scratch. I learned quite a bit in both Lua and spriting since then. I even got distracted by Metroid Dreadnought and loved it so much I had to put Samus in SMB2 first. I've been very on and off since then, figuring it was no rush until Lua became a main staple in SMB2. And now with 2.2 out, I think it's time. The last official release for SMS was almost 12 years ago. He has long since died, and will soon be reborn. I'm releasing the new, and hopefully last, Super Mystic Sonic on April 18th, my birthday. And it's not about entirely that I've wasted half of 2015 summer on sprites. Above all else, I simply still enjoy this project, and I still want to share that love despite the opposition. So, I'll see you then. The community's chilled out a lot in 12 years, and I trust this time the community won't fight itself over who likes what. Because as we should all know,